everyone. How's it going? How's it going? I know it's lunchtime, but I promise I won't take too much time. All right, so we're all, first of all, super excited to be here to share our stories. It's a great city. It's a great event. And when I walked in the venue, I had one feeling that it would be nicer if we can ride some bikes. That's why I bring one with me from China. So after this speech, probably you can try it on in the backstage. So, what we do, right? So how many of you have tried the yellow bike as of today? How many of you? Well, a lot more than I expected. Cool. So for those of you who haven't tried the bike, what we do is that we're the station-free bike sharing program, the world's first and largest. So I think instead of talk a lot about us, I show you a video of what we do. It's easier for you to have a visual.
Mi chiamo Leone.
Bobby.
Lund.
Jordi, Orbe.
Daria.
我于天健。
Ik ben Esther Versluis.
Valencia.
Masque.
广东。
东京人。
Thai.
Leiden.
西安。
上海。
北京。Sono di Milano.
我在江宁路高头找了好久的地，但是我地铁只能到南京西路，而且那块地方老堵的嘛。那么我地铁到了南京西路之后，我就要 double offer， 一歇歇2-3分钟辰光就可以到江宁路搿搭就去吃自家好吃的物事。
可以很快的给它刷出来，然后几分钟之内就通过一段很拥堵的路段。
市政呢也给我们提供了一些停车桩的那种，但是这个停车桩离我们家又有一段距离，所以非常不方便。
Certo che Offbike è conveniente, perché posso lasciarlo ovunque, mentre le altre biciclette le devo parcheggiare dove mi dicono di parcheggiarle.
以前2-3公里的距离啊，我们都觉得太远了，不想骑。现在有了GoFi，相当于是脚杆都变长了，那个移动的范围也变大了。
Soms ga ik naar Rotterdam toe. En als ik naar Rotterdam ga, dan moet ik de trein pakken of de metro. Zelf vind ik dit niet heel erg fijn, want als het mooi weer is, dan ben ik het liefst gewoon buiten.
เพื่อนที่จะมารับแล้วไปห้องเรียน แต่ตอนนี้เราไม่ต้องแล้ว
我返工係晚黑2點先收工嘅，當時已經冇巴士又冇地鐵啦。
สแกนแล้วก็ขี่ไปได้เลย
踩單車又比較快，你唔使驚有人攔住你打劫你，我覺得都幾好喎。
La verdad que aquí en el campus de China me hace la vida mucho más fácil. Tardo muy poquito en ir de un sitio a otro.
В принципе, это движение, это жизнь, поэтому я предпочитаю здоровье.
All right. So this is when we launched Cascais, the city outside of Lisbon. So if any of you go after the event, can try our bikes in Cascais. So what we do, right? What we do is that we bring people back to bikes. All right. So right now we have all this congestion, pollution problem in the city. So we need to come up with a really good riding, bike sharing experience in order to bring a lot of people, as many as possible, back to the bikes. So that's our solution, right? The station-free bike sharing. So when you bring people back from cars to bikes, and well, basically you do the city a lot of favor. You do the city add a lot of value to the city, right? So you reduce carbon emission, and you increase actually the travel efficiency and lower the cost and everything. So yeah, those are the simple data, right? So for every kilometer you ride on the bike instead of in the car, this is the amount of carbon dioxide emission you help to save. So as of today, we have a decent size in China. So every day we are providing 32 million bike trips in China, and which means over 50 million users are using our product in China. And luckily, right now we're in 17 countries across the globe. And as of today, we have about 50,000 people using our product internationally every day. So these are some simple data here, and you can see this is the amount of trips we do, and amount of liters of fuel we help to save. I think the last piece is very important, is that the amount of carbon dioxide emission we help to reduce is equal to create 250, the size of a 255 Lisbon city area of forest. So yes, basically we're building some forest out there. And the second piece is about the efficiency, right? You think about how to get point A to point B in the city. So there are a couple of data right here, is that compared to owning a private bike by yourself, right? So the private bike, 95, maybe 99% of the time is idle, right? Like the garage and they park on the street. So on average, every private bike is used about 5 minutes a day, right? Compared to the shared bike on our platform every day, our bike is used on average 76 minutes, which is about 16 times more efficiency than a private bike. And on our platform, obviously, like the bike can be used by all the users in our platform. So on average, one bike like this can serve 20 people every day, right? So while like one private bike can only serve yourself, one people, right, with the private lock and everything. And we have conducted research with the Transportation Academy of China and shows that 19 out of 20 cities which have our service see like significant reduction of the emission of carbon dioxide and congestion for the past 6 months, right? So how does success look like for us, right? So there's one very interesting metric we look at, which is the cycling penetration rate, which means like what is percentage of the city transportation which is on cycle. Right, so I can share some of the data with you, is that while some very good cities like Amsterdam, the penetration rate is about 40%, which means like 40% of the transportation for the citizens there are done by cycling, right? 30% in Copenhagen, and well, because you can see some other larger cities are not doing a very good job. For example, 2% in London, 5% in Paris, and yeah, so basically single digits % for most of the large cities. And what is the percentage for Lisbon? I think last year I checked, it's about 0%. I think it's because of the hilly roads. Right now, I think it's close to 1%. I think we see some like magnitude change there. But I think with product upgrades, with e-bike and everything, we're confident that we can bring more people back to bikes. So how does it take? What does it take to make it happen, right? So two things on I think back all this like effect. One is technology, one is people. All right, so number one, this is what this looked like when they put the bike in pieces, right? So there are hundreds of different parts of the bike, and each one of them will have very careful design in order to make the bike ready for sharing, right? So this is not a regular bike because, as I said, the frequency of usage is 20 times more than a regular bike. So the bike needs to be stronger, last longer, and have much lower maintenance cost from like a scalable operation perspective. So that's what it looks like when we put it together. And there are a lot of, I would say, the technologies about the bike, and a lot of like localized solutions we provide. For example, one very simple example is that you look at the basket. You probably notice there is like a yellow piece, right? That is a wooden panel that we put down there. Actually, there's a hole in it where you can put your coffee when you ride your bike. And this is the smart lock, which is the heart of our bike or our smart device, right? Right now we have implemented a lot of like technology in it, including GSM, GPS, iBeacon, Bluetooth, and NFC, and also like the NB-IoT, right? So basically like all those tech terms all like lead to one fact, is like we will bring up the tracking position of the bicycle and also increase the efficiency of travels for people. So yes, all these, I mean, is the hardware product, is the bike itself, but we're not just a company running like some cold iron piece of bicycles. The company is actually supported and run by the real people behind it. So this lady works in one of the factories where we manufacture the bike in Tianjin, China, that help us like to do all this like manufacturing. And this is our first maintenance worker on the ground. And while you can see, like he's with very beautiful smile on his face. And with the system, with the big data system we have right now, one man like him, like Mr. Chen, can manage on average 1,000 bikes per day, right? So I don't know how many of you have seen like what like 1,000 bikes looks like. It looks pretty a lot. So probably like fill up the whole room here. So yes, one man like that can manage 1,000 bikes on average. So yes, basically like we need a system to actually very closely monitor the travel patterns of the city, the commuting hobbies of the people, and also like the supply curve of all this like bikes. Yes, this is one of our maintenance workers in motion, in action. So a little bit of history, right? So we started in 2014 in university in Beijing. Basically, the idea is very simple. Like the founder himself lost 5 bikes during his 4-year study in university, so it's not a very good experience. At the same time, right, in China, you cannot bring the bike with you to the subway station. So sometimes you get up the station, Beijing is very big, and you still have like 1.5 miles, 2 miles to walk, which is very hot, which is not very good. At the same time, you see like actually a lot of bikes, private bikes on the street, right? So in China, we have existing bike storage about like 400 million bikes, private bikes, as of today. So you can see like there are a lot of bikes on the street, but everyone has a private lock. You cannot use them, even if you need them, need the commuting transportation methods. So basically, we came up with this idea: what if we would connect all these bikes to our platform? What if we put together like a general sharing lock system where everybody can unlock every bike like they can see, right? So basically, this is how Ofo is created, right? So we start university, we expand to cities, and right now we're not only in China, we're in 17 countries outside of China, and we're serving like basically people everywhere in the world. And this is sort of like a map of where we are, right? We're covering most of the continents, and we're in Europe, right? We launched in Milan, we're in Madrid, we're in, well, Lisbon, not in Lisbon city, but there's a flat city, Cascais, outside of Lisbon. We're in Russia, we're in Prague, we're in a lot of like cities, like the big cities there, and London, obviously. So I think the last piece I'd love to talk about is our mission, right? So what do we aim to do? Like I said, obviously bring people back from cars to bikes is something we would love to do. And I think there is one thing as we go to more cities, right? As we like see more like problems with urban transportation, we start to realize actually there is a huge inequality, imbalance of access to mobility, right? In one city, you probably see like the centralized the public transit system or the docking-based bike systems, like even very city center, where like I would say the wealthier people lives. But I think in the outskirts, normally people lack access to mobility. You see from like a global perspective, there are some countries more developed, right? They have like the better access like to mobility, like better like transportation methods. But there are also countries like don't have access to it, right? So I'm going to show you an example like what Africa looks like. And actually, we go to like the schools in Africa, right? We see like a lot of the people that do not have education, right? The huge imbalance of education, and the number one cause of the imbalance of education is not actually the lack of educational resource. It's not the lack of classrooms, teachers, or like books. It's the lack of access to mobility, which can get them to the closest school. Some people like need to walk like tens of like kilometers like every day to go to the school. So I think that's where we can add value. We can equalize that sort of like imbalance. We can provide access to everybody, right, to the mobility, which can enable them to education, to resource, to like just like you guys live in Lisbon or London, any big cities, feel like very convenient. So I'm going to show you one thing we're doing to make that equalizing work.
As of Malawi, the challenges that girls face, the major challenge, I should say, is long distances. Because a girl might travel 13 kilometers, 15 kilometers away from home, just one way, going to school. And then she'll have to come back. You can imagine it's 26 kilometers. As for a girl, it's a very big challenge.
It's amazing. The way they learn, though, I love that they learn in melody. That's like my favorite thing. Because kids, they adopt melody really, really quickly. And so if you can use that as a learning tool, I think it's the most brilliant thing.
Yeah, guys, so what we do very simple is that we bring people back to bikes, and we really try to bring equal access to everybody. So girls there can ride bikes, can just feel like living in big cities, and you guys can ride bikes, and everybody can ride bikes in the city. So, yeah, again, like, thanks very much for having us, and really invite you to join us, ride a bike, and make the world a better place to live. Thanks very much.